of the proposed redactions and the original, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. All right, Ms. White, are you arguing this issue?
Yes, Your Honor. So we obviously review our objections and just honestly just highlight a couple things about the fact that this is just character evidence. Specifically, there's conversations where Ms. Andrews is saying, you know, I won't do this to you, I wouldn't do that to you. And that's kind of what this goes back and forth. Any conversation that is, I believe maybe what the state is suggesting is related to gangs is not on behalf of Ms. Andrews. It's on behalf of someone else who again is not charged in this case. And outside of being alleged to have been a gang member is not connected to this case at all, specifically these charges. So we reject again based on that information. But if the court is going to allow it in, we believe for context purposes, everything should come in. Everything about the romance and I just want to be a good person and I don't want to be involved in this, all that information should come in before the jury as well, even though we believe it's not relevant.
Okay.
It's improper character evidence.
So, sounds like they want the whole thing to come in.
Okay, Your Honor.
You don't want to.
No, I know, absent your objections, but if you're forced to choose between a redacted version or a complete version, you would opt for a complete, correct?
Correct. We don't believe that the state should be allowed to cherry pick information.
Well, they weren't cherry picking, they were doing what I asked them to do.
Well, I mean, as far as the redaction,
Right.
they shouldn't be allowed to place only into evidence the information that appears to be negative towards Ms. Andrews.
Sure, okay, so then I'll overrule the objection, the whole thing can come in.
Your Honor, I just need a few seconds to run outside and let the witness know about that.
Sure.
Back. But if we can please, if there's any objection to the other items, address that first.
Okay, what
Yes.
other item?
So there is 75C12.
Okay,
I don't know if you want to write it down
Through
or you just going
16.
through 16.
That are being added, Your Honor.
wait, 75, C
12
12 and 13.
through 16.
12 through 16, okay, what are these?
Would you want to take it from the defense first?
Well, state, just tell me what they are, and then I'll hear what the objection is.
Additional instructions from Ms. Andrews' devices.
Okay. Can I look at them?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what are the objections?
Let's.
Okay, let's start with C12. And let the jury know, we just had something come up, and I'll be with them shortly.
Your Honor, may I stand at the bench so I can see what's on here first?
Sure. Okay, C12 is, looks like photographs, thumbnail.
Correct, Your Honor.
So those are screenshots, I believe, or maybe photos of Ms. Andrews and two individuals that I don't even believe the state will be able to establish who they are. I don't know how they're going to establish that. I would let them, talk about why they want to get them in. But from our perspective, again, they have absolutely nothing to do with this case. And you're going to see a pattern between 13 or 12 to 16 that this is, again, an attempt to introduce improper character evidence by the state to, I don't know, I guess the argument is that alleged that she has knowledge, and I just don't know how far this is going to go, Your Honor.
Well, I don't know, I'm guessing, I'll let the state answer, but it's something to do with the alleged gang sign? Is that what this is
That is
relevant
correct,
to?
Your Honor, and the date at which that photo was taken or was retrieved from Ms. Andrews' device as having been captured on that device predates when she gave her statement of when she knew this co-defendant, Mr. Chance, and several questions were asked on cross-examination yesterday regarding whether they knew whether Ms. Andrews had the phone when the photos or screenshots were taken that were introduced versus her co-defendant. These would have been before the co-defendant's involvement.
I don't think that's an accurate characterization of what we were asking. There were specific photos that the state was referencing, and the question was whether or not that witness could testify as to whether Ms. Andrews had the phone at the time those screenshots were taken. So it's not about every phone that was backed up, every picture that was backed up on her iCloud device. That's not what the question was about. There were, I believe, 3 specific photos that we asked the question about whether or not that witness could say Ms. Andrews took these screenshots or she was the person who did it.
Well, Detective Grayback, he was questioned about, because the phone, I guess her phone, I don't know, I heard this, that it disappeared, was no longer available, something along those lines.
That device has not ever been recovered.
Never been recovered. So then she gets a new phone on, I think it was June the 26th,
Correct.
correct? And then the download happens on the 26th, correct?
Correct, from iCloud to
From
device.
iCloud.
Which is
Did
the
the
device
new-
that disappeared,
Right.
Your Honor. This would have been information that would, the iCloud was taken.
Right.
So, yeah.
Detective Grayback was questioned about his knowledge and if he knew who downloaded those photos originally and when they would have been downloaded. And there were specific questions on cross-examination noting the date of June the 26th, and definitely the implication was, and I think actually Mr. McLymut asked the detective if he knew if there was any evidence that Ms. Andrews at times lent her phone to Mr. Chance.
That was asked.
That was
Correct.
asked.
Which has been testified to by the state's witnesses. That's a known fact.
Okay.
No one's disputing that. It was the state who implied that because she had only had the phone for a day or so, that somehow that meant information was missing, even though they have the entire iCloud with 370,000 different artifacts. So I guess the implication was that there was some information missing. The point is, the information is from the iCloud, it's not the device. I can throw my phone in the river and download my entire iCloud and get the exact same things on my new iPhone that I had on my old iPhone. But the bigger issue is the questions that were asked specifically about the photos that were attempted to be entered into evidence yesterday. They were not about every photo that exists in her iCloud. But I think the even bigger issue is, Your Honor, where does this end? At what point are they not allowed to just keep introducing irrelevant information about, the 50 different gang members that she lives, within a 5-mile radius of that she's come across? They can't even tell us who this person is. They won't even be able to establish who that person is. Whether or not she slapped them in the face and said, "Why did you throw that sign up?" They can't, none of that matters though, because it's not relevant to the allegations in this case. This is becoming a please find her guilty because she knows gang members case. 70% of what we discussed about Ms. Andrews is about who she knows and not how she's connected to this murder. And at some point it has to stop, Your Honor.
Okay, let me take a look at the other ones real quick. So that is C12, C13. It looks like these are photographs again.
It's actually a video, but there's only one still from the video. If Your Honor can see the last page is the still from the video.
Right.
Extracted.
Okay, and what's the significance of that?
The individual depicted in this image is the individual that Ms. Andrews is messaging with from the messages that we've just looked at that the state was providing potential redactions to. He is a member of the opposing group, and those messages are pretty clear as to what it relates to their conversation. This is them in a relationship prior to her involvement with ATK and 1200 members.
So
This is a picture.
Is this the K Shorty or is this someone?
This is
This is
K.
K Shorty. Okay.
And if I recall, Your Honor, I believe the point of that this entire text thread was not to show that they were in a relationship, it's to show that she had knowledge that he had some sort of gang involvement. And if that's the case, why does this photo matter? Other than to show the jury that she is cozying up with gang members. That is the entire point of all of these exhibits, Your Honor. And
Well, but then she's taking photos and saving them to her phone of herself with gang members making gang signs.
my response to that is so what? Why does that matter to you guys?
Well, to me, it seems like it goes to the weight the jury is supposed to give as opposed to admissibility.
But to the weight of what, Your Honor?
Okay, first of all, you guys stood up an opening statement, okay? And you told this jury, and there is no evidence she's a gang member. Or that she's an associate of a gang member.
It's not just, it's further than that, Your Honor.
I'm not done. So you get up an opening statement and you say, this was just a romantic getaway. She thought she was going with her boyfriend somewhere. She didn't know any of these individuals involved. She had no idea that this was going to be a gang-related anything. That's what you told this jury, an opening statement.
Yeah, specifically that she didn't know the individuals involved in this murder.
Okay.
And they haven't shown you any evidence of that. They're going on a rampage about 50 people that are not involved in this case. We did not say that she didn't know any gang members. What we said was that she did not know Davion Murphy, Rashad Murphy. We haven't heard anything about that. We heard Sean Gathwright's grandma testify. I've never seen her before. There's no evidence even that they even have a relationship outside of her knowing who she was. But again, Your Honor, what does that have to do with this murder? I'm sorry, counsel is like talking sideways in my ear, and it's very distracting.
Okay. All right, let's look at the next one, which is C14. And what is this?
This is a screenshot of J. Breezy's music video that was also saved to the device in 2019. There were some indications regarding the earlier, screen shares or screenshots that were taken in the case that the gang detectives talked about. But most importantly, J. Breezy is linked to this case as having provided payment to Ms. Andrews' boyfriend. Ms. Andrews had obviously testified in her interview, and we expected to come out in testimony that she was not with that boyfriend at this time, putting her having knowledge of this individual at the time of at least this screenshot, which would have been back in 2019. He's the one who provided payment to Mr. Chance for the Airbnb before Mr. Chance provides payment for the Airbnb for this stay.
And I'm sorry, Yana, so this is a screenshot of, I didn't see which one it was. This is a screenshot of a music video?
Yes. So I'm going to sustain the objection as to C14. Okay? All right, let's move on to the next one, C15.
15 and 16 are both screenshots from what was discussed by the detectives yesterday relating to the cell phone evidence that they had seen or observed with this defendant's communication with ATK Keys or Marquis Working.
And what is it? What is it I'm looking at exactly?
These are both 15 and 16 are screenshots that were saved to Ms. Andrews' device, and it is an Instagram chat. So when you open up your messages on Instagram, it is the chain of the messages. These messages depict her messages with an ATK keys, which has been identified as Marquis Wortham.
And these are from 2020?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So at this time, I'm going to sustain the objection as to these. Now, they may become relevant at some point. We'll see what the testimony is.
Yes, Your
And I'm going to overrule the objection as to 75C12 and 75C13. Okay?
And Your Honor, I just, so that's not when the jury comes in, we also, like I said, don't believe they'll even be able to get testimony as to who those individuals are. And let me confirm, you allowed in, was it 13?
The screenshots that show Ms. Andrews with the other individuals as direct evidence of her knowledge.
Yeah, and so that we can avoid any potential argument. If the argument is authentication, these items were obtained from the device download that was obtained pursuant to a search warrant from law enforcement for the device. So I'm not sure what the legal objection is, but
I mean, there's a lot of legal objections, but the biggest one is that in order for these, I guess, to become, I don't think, relevant, but who's going to establish who these individuals are? Just because they're in her phone and they got, a certification of business records.
I don't know
that
I don't know the state has to. Okay, so we'll see. All right.
maybe 60 seconds, Your Honor, just to update the witnesses.
Sure.
To these exhibits.
office. I don't know if you left it up there.
Oh, no, that's the clerk's, not mine.
Oh, it's
Sorry about that. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, we ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, let's bring in our jury.
Yes, sir. All rise. All jurors are in, Judge.
Okay, very good. Welcome back, and state clerk next witness.
The state would call Detective Benjamin Boris.
Raise your right hand, face the mic.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. Would you state your full name for the jury?
It's Detective Benjamin Boris.
Where are you?
Last,
Oh, I apologize.
last name spelled B-O-R-S.
Where are you currently employed?
The City of Tampa Police Department
And how long have you been employed with the Tampa Police Department?
since 2010.
What is the current assignment that you serve in or at TPD?
I am currently assigned to the Cybercrimes Unit
And how long have you been in the cybercrimes unit?
since 2016.
In that time, tell me what some of your day-to-day duties are.
So when I originally started in the Cybercrimes Unit, it was more focused on internet crimes against children, which is a task force, and then that evolved into digital forensics to help assist those cases, and eventually the Cybercrimes Unit now includes digital forensics and internet crimes against children. So my responsibility is probably 50-50 on both now.
What training and experience do you have in the area of actually analyzing these types of evidence?
So I've taken multiple classes with NW3C, which is the National White Collar Crimes, and then individually for like specific tools. Main one being Celebrite, where I've completed the physical operator and analysis, certified forensic repair technician, and then with Axiom, I've done multiple classes for computers and then cloud extractions, and then also received certifications with IASIS, which is more specific on Windows computers, and then the forensics of going through the deep artifacts of the devices.
Okay, so I'm going to break down a couple of those things. You mentioned something called Axiom and something called Celebrite. What are those?
Those are what I refer to as analytic tools, which you can, one part of their tool gets the extraction from the devices, and then they also sell another tool that actually parses out the extractions into something you can view.
How is it that you're able to use those programs to analyze, for example, a return instead of a physical device?
So again, it's a tool. So if we get a return from, like in this case, an Apple, you ask for the Apple Cloud backup through a search warrant or consent, and then they'll give you back typically what's a zip file or multiple zip files, where if someone's Apple iPhone, they've decided to back up different things such as like contacts, messages, pictures, all different categories. When they back that up, it goes to Apple, and then Apple gives that to us on whichever legal authority we choose. And then typically those companies give it back in the same format every time. So then these third-party companies, Axiom or Celebrite, know what that format is, and then they write the software to then parse it out to where we can then view it.
Is it safe to say it's kind of like taking the file and dropping it into the program as an ability for you to read it instead of a bunch of code?
Correct. It's more in zip files, and then maybe it could be in JSON files or Excel spreadsheets, and it basically just pulls it out into something to where you would view it the same. So where a text message, when you typically look out on your phone, it's kind of in order and there might be a color associated with sender and receiver. These tools kind of do the same thing. It puts it more into a format that you're used to seeing it in versus just in a bunch of lines.
In the format that you're able to see the information once it's actually uploaded, do you have categories that you can click on to look at specific types of information?
Correct. These programs, being Axiom or Celebrite, they decide what categories they're going to categorize the artifacts into. Excuse me. And yes, so you'll see messages, photographs, videos, things like that.
And are you familiar with the process of backing up your device to the cloud or to iCloud?
Yes.
Are you able to select certain items to back up, or are you required to back up the entire device?
You can choose to back up individual things or none of it or all of it.
So you could choose contacts and photos and nothing else.
Yes.
And are you able to tell us, did you have some involvement in the investigation, in this investigation as it relates to the homicide of Charles Jones?
Yes.
Were you tasked with reviewing some either returns or Celebrite Axiom reports from some devices or returns in this case?
Yes.
I want to start first with whether you received a return from Apple iCloud in this case.
Yes.
Did you receive more than one?
Yes.
Would the first return that you received for analysis from Apple iCloud be alicia.andrews03@yahoo.com, or one of them?
Yes, that sounds familiar.
And did you also receive a return for rockoutsean with 2 N's at iCloud.com?
Yes.
You typically, do you select which software you're going to use if you receive these types of returns?
I have a software that I typically use. Again, these softwares, they're being written constantly with the updates. So it kind of goes on whatever at that moment is the best tool at the time for what I use. But I will often ask the detective what they would prefer to have it in because they have to review it. And whatever they're most comfortable using as well might depend on which tool I decide to use.
When a report is actually extracted, so say you find a photo or a message that you'd like.
Yes.
When that's extracted, does that extracted report look different if you're using Axiom versus you're using Celebrite?
Yes.
And is that just a visual difference?
Yes.
Is there, in your experience, has there been a significant difference in the data itself?
The raw data, no, but again, each tool is written by 2 different companies, so what data might be parsed out by one company might be different than another in terms of, I'll try to keep it simple, where TikTok is somewhat newer. So let's say one tool has written code to parse TikTok where another one has not. It doesn't mean that the data, the raw data isn't there in the extraction. It just means one tool was written to parse it where the other one hasn't.
In this case, since we'll just limit those readers to what was utilized in this case, so that would still be Axiom and Celebrite, is that right?
Yes.
Did you have an opportunity to review Celebrite reports from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Department for a device that was obtained in a search warrant there?
Yes.
And would that have been from red with 3 Ds 03@icloud.com?
Yes.
Additionally, did you have an opportunity to review the Celebrite report for rockoutsean@icloud.com, the same one that you had an Axiom extraction from iCloud for?
It wasn't an extraction, a return from Apple,
excuse me.
but yes.
So you've had an opportunity at least to review those 3 separate things
Yes.
and the contents therein.
Yes.
I want to start first with the Apple ID red 03@icloud.com. Are you familiar from which that came, where that came from, excuse me?
I believe that was from the Jacksonville Celebrite report.
Permission to approach on it.
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked states 76A through B.
Yes.
I'm also going to show you states 75.
Okay.
Then 76, at least A through B, contain the device information that was from the Celebrite report, as well as some of the contents from that device for which you've reviewed.
Yes.
At this time, state seeks to admit states 76, A through B, 1 through 4, and 8.
Any objection other than the previously made objections?
No further objection.
Same ruling, admitted.
Now, I've asked you about whether this Celebrite extraction had some kind of related ID, and showing you states 76A. Can you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here?
Yeah, so these are mostly identifiers or information about the device itself. So you can see the model number towards the top. But that's not a model number that you typically see. So the model number, I don't want to say typically see, but that's something that's more forensically or a model that's given to by Apple as far as build number to the software. The typical model you'll see is Detective Phone model, which was a iPhone 14. And then the iOS version, which is 17.5.1. The MSI SDN is the phone number that's associated with that device. And then you'll see the IMEI a little bit further up there that starts with 350. That's what most people would commonly refer to as the serial number to the device. It's specific to that device.
Okay, so if we break that down just a little bit slower, you mentioned that there is a phone number that's associated. Is that what we're seeing here with this last use, MSI SDN?
Yes.
And then the Apple ID that we referred to as it related to this particular Celebrite report was red with 3 Ds, 03 at iCloud.
Correct.
Excuse me, I'm not sure if I'm there. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
All right. And are we talking about the information that's included right here?
Yes.
Now, are these device reports able to be downloaded typically from your standard Celebrite extraction? So are you able to get this kind of summary with a report with this information about the device, the phone number, the Apple ID, typically when you use Celebrite?
When you use either Celebrite or Gray Key and you do an extraction, when you parse that extraction out in the Celebrite tool, this is what's generated by Celebrite.
And is this something that you can look to determine identifying information for whatever the extraction is you're looking at?
Yes.
Does that also include specific account identifiers? So, for example, if there is an Instagram account that's documented on the phone or a TikTok account, is that information that can be included on these device reports?
Yes.
And do we see an example of that here with the Instagram at 14, line 14?
Yes. Instagram has identified, Celebrite has identified an account associated with Instagram and then the usernames.
At the top of these columns that are provided in the device report, are there several different categories of information that have been created by the Celebrite software?
Yes.
And does that include creation time as well?
Yes.
Are you able to tell me anything about that, creation time?
Not specifically that one, no.
Okay. What about UTC in the creation time itself?
Yes, so UTC refers to Coordinated Universal Time. So to put it in the easiest explanation is that all of the times, as far as we're concerned, is generally around Greenwich, England. So just say England as a specific place. So we're currently in Eastern Standard Time. So depending on daylight savings time, we're either -4 or -5 hours from England. So if it was midnight, it would be 4 hours behind, and then pretty soon we'll be in fall, so we fall back another hour, and it would be 5 hours back. So forensically, we often leave stuff in UTC time when you look at it, because it makes it easier when people are communicating all over the world, and you want to make it relative to where we're currently at in Eastern Standard Time. It just makes it easier when you're doing things on a time log.
And that is what you prefer in forensics when you all look at the information?
It makes it easier because if someone in, let's say, California was talking to someone in Florida and you're using 2 different time zones while trying to tell a story, it makes it very difficult. So we try to leave it all in one time zone.
What about for the detectives that you work with day to day? Does it make it easier for them to do the calculations when you actually provide these reports to them, or do they contact you often to have assistance?
There are ways to, in the report, to convert it, to make it easier for them, but often you'll see, like you see right here, it's UTC plus 0, meaning that there is no, the time isn't altered at all. It is in UTC time, so it being June, to be in Eastern Standard Time, you would have to minus 4 hours from the time you see.
Now, I'll show you some examples of that modification here in a bit, but there is ultimately a way for the device for you to update the time zone to the current time zone or the time zone that the device is in.
So the time zone that the device is in, I would say the time zone where you're at would be more correct, because the problem with time the device is in, the device doesn't store in what we refer to in forensics as local time. So if the device is in Florida today, but California tomorrow, it doesn't store it in those two time zones. It stores it in UTC or whatever time it is, but it comes back to a UTC time. And then based on where your phone's time zone is set, which often is automatically set, but you can go in and manually set it as well, it will minus 4 or 5 if you're in Eastern time zone, and that's what you see on your device, but it's not stored in your local time zone.
But you are able, there is a mechanism to view the information that is pulled or view the report with the modification to from UTC to Eastern Standard Time.
Correct. This tool, Celebrite, is used worldwide. So depending on what time zone you are in, you can choose to set it at -4 for Eastern Standard Time or -8 for Pacific Time. So you can go in there and go, hey, I want to view it in the time zone for the state I'm currently in, and it'll alter those times accordingly.
There's been no request of you or no evidence to suggest or support that there were any devices provided to you where there needed to be a calculation for Central Time or Pacific or anything like that in this case?
No.
Now, and again, looking at the identifying information from this report, was there also something in line 16 as it related to a TikTok and the user ID information from there?
Yes.
What is the information that were provided from the TikTok column here under the user ID?
It shows the user ID also being, I believe, Alicia Andrews 72.
Now, when you look at specific items from inside of this report, are you actually able to pull, for example, a text message communication?
Yes.
Showing use states 76B. What is it that we're looking at here? What type of report?
This is also a Celebrite report, and it shows a conversation or at least some messages that were sent and received.
What is it that you can tell me about the timestamps, if any, on these messages that are depicted on the screen from June 21st of 2024 at 10:56 p.m.?
Same thing I mentioned before. They're in UTC, so they're going to be 4 hours different than what would be Eastern Standard Time from where we're currently at. So being 10:56 p.m., it would, I believe, be 6:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
When you actually look to the message itself, are you able to determine who the sender is, or are there any markings or indications on the messages which would indicate who the sender is versus who is receiving the messages?
Yes, oftentimes will say to and from. In these scenarios, this isn't text messages. I believe these are actually just messages by...
I can go back to the first page related to Miss Adore.
Yeah, so I was looking at the numbers at the top, which are often the account numbers associated with either Instagram or Facebook. And it looks like, so as I was saying, that all of the files that come in from Apple, they're in a bunch of smaller zip files. So underneath where it says source extraction, that is the actual zip file that these messages are coming through or being pulled from by Celebrite. And you'll see towards the very bottom, it'll say group.com.html. Bourbon, B-U-R-B-N, and then Instagram plist. So these messages are actually being pulled from that file, which is a plist file, which is associated with Instagram. So looking at that, I know that those are Instagram account numbers, and then those are the display names. So Miss Adore would be the display name of that Instagram account that sent that message to whoever the other person is.
And then in that device information that we were looking at from 76A, are you also able in the account name column to confirm what you were looking at there from that source information as well? The same name at least depicted there.
Yes.
And these, again, messages were in UTC time, at least as extracted here.
Yes.
In states 76B2, is there also a category for something called transfers that you can extract the Celebrite report for?
Yes.
And what is it? Is that what we're looking at here?
Yes.
Still, the data that comes in allows for some categories. Are these categories that are provided by the program or something that you would input or add?
No, these are all, like I mentioned earlier, that Celebrite, the company, has parsed out whichever file contains this information, and they choose which category to display them in.
Now, in this particular case, there's a source column, but it doesn't look like that long source code that we were looking at from the last exhibit. Is that different?
It's just showing that it came from Cash App. It did come from a longer source file or file path. It's just not displayed here.
And what are you familiar with Cash App?
Yes.
Is that a money transfer application?
Yes.
In states 76B, are you able to see that?
Yes.
When we're looking at the file info from 76B, are you able to tell me anything as it relates to the name of the file?
Yes, the file name is img_001.heic.
And does the HEIC, is that indicative of anything for you?
I don't know what it stands for, but I know that HEIC is commonly a file extension for a picture file associated with Apple devices.
So for like a document, you would have .pdf or .doc or something. Is it, for just a layperson when we're looking at it, you recognize HEIC as .hcic being consistent with a photograph or
Yes.
pictorial evidence? When we see the thumbnail associated here, are you able, when viewing the information, to actually look at that image in a larger capacity?
Yes.
Does that mean that this thumbnail here that it's given to you, does that mean that that was the original size of the item or anything like that?
No, the original size says the bytes right there. It tells you how big the file is. That's just simply, like you said, it's a thumbnail image. It's a small image, just like when you go through your photos if you have an iPhone or an Android, you don't look at one photo at a time. You can probably look at 30 to 40 photos. All of those photos are also saved in those smaller sizes so you can quickly view them, and those are called thumbnail images. But the actual image itself is much larger typically.
Can you see that all right?
Yes.
From that file itself, was this image consistent with a thumbnail attached to that extraction?
Yes.
And you can't tell me about the circumstances from which this photograph was taken.
No.
Can you simply tell me that this is a photograph that was on the device
Yes.
and was depicted in the extraction report?
Yes.
Do you have information about at least the created, modified access dates here as it relates to this particular thumbnail?
I'm not sure if that refers to the thumbnail or the actual photo itself. I believe it refers to the actual photo, which is the created of 6/26/24. I believe the thumbnail is actually just generated by Celebrite.
Yes, I apologize.
the-
I mean for the photo.
Yeah, so the artifact itself being the larger image we just saw, the created, modified, and accessed is associated with the photo, but then the metadata below is the data about the photo itself. So you can see that the capture time, probably the original time that photo was created, matches the created and modified.
And for this specific photograph, there is a capture time that it also reflects camera phone and iPhone 14. Were those consistent with the device information from the first exhibit that we looked at 76A?
I don't recall if it was an iPhone 14.
In looking at in looking at state 76A, does it refresh your recollection as to the device model for this extraction?
Yes, it would be the same model then.
Did the capture time of 8:35 p.m., is that indicative of UTC time in looking at the actual created, modified, access information?
So the time is about 2 minutes difference, but I'm not sure if the capture time below is in UTC, but using the created modified times, it would appear that it would be in UTC.
How about as it relates to the image that was actually captured itself? Is there any information from the image itself that we're able to ascertain regarding the potential time that it was captured?
Yes, the phone itself shows that it was 8:35.
In looking at States Exhibit 76B8, can you tell me how this type of an extraction, even though we still see the blue and the green boxes, would be different from the one that we looked at from Instagram? Does this one have phone numbers for the participants instead of ID numbers or?
Yes,
Okay. And are you able to see the phone numbers on this report itself?
yes,
Are those phone numbers depicted here?
yes.
And with owner, is that indicative of the device from which this information came from?
It is.
You mentioned when we were looking at the Instagram messages that there's a to or a from. Do we have that information in each of the top of the chat bubbles that we see here photographed or depicted?
Yes.
Can you tell me from whom the top message came from and what, if anything, it said?
It shows it came from the owner's device to the phone number ending in 7558. And did you want me to read the actual message
The content of the
itself?
message, if
Okay.
you would.
It says, if you get a iPhone and you have a Android, you can switch your stuff over. I just figured it out if you ever upgrade.
Did that same message that's captured there in green also, or that same sender also send the next message that's captured in green?
Yes.
And does that one indicate anything was actually sent as far as content as well?
As far as the message goes, it says like your pictures and stuff.
And was there any response or message back to this device captured in this chat?
Yeah, it shows that the message received was about a minute later. And it just says, switch and bring your hard-headed self home. Those messages that we just looked at, 76B8, were those and UTC time consistent with the device being or sending these messages at 8:39 p.m. on June 26th? Yeah, so this report or what you're viewing here has been converted to Eastern Standard Time. So the times would reflect Eastern Standard Time, and that's what the -4 means.
And lastly, for this device, from state 76B4, is this another one of those messages where you're able to tell us whether it was between devices with a number or on some kind of social media account?
This is from devices with phone numbers.
What is the timestamp that is related to the first message that's sent?
It is 8:42 p.m. and it's in Eastern Standard Time.
And was there a response from someone to this device?
Yes.
And what was that?
How do I know this is you?
Can you tell us what we're looking at here on page 2 of that same exhibit and how it differs from the other chats?
This is just obviously a picture message that was sent as an attachment in the message.
And again, are you able to, when you see something that size, look at a larger depiction of that?
Yes.
Is that what was reflected there?
Yes.
And was the timestamp able to be deciphered from the information included on that message?
Yes.
And when was that message sent from this owner's device?
9:17 p.m. in Eastern Standard Time.
In addition to the Celebrite for Red 03, did you have an opportunity to review an Axiom extraction as well? That was a return from iCloud.
Yes.
I'm showing you 75B. Can you talk to us a little bit about what it is that we are seeing in the overview report in 75B?
Yes, this is the overview is all the individual files that comes back from Apple, and then they're parsed out by, in this case, Axiom.
So did the extractions that come from, or the returns that come from iCloud, when you pop them into Axiom, do they look a little bit different visually than the Celebrite reports that we just looked at?
Yes, the individual company decides how they want to display the information when they parse it.
What, if anything, are you able to tell me about each of these 3 files? Can you view them together when you actually use this software?
Yes.
And do you have the same option to look at tabs or categories within the information when you use it?
Yes.
And publishing states 75C. Now, how is it that you, from an Axiom extraction or report, are able to determine where or what category the information came from?
They would have the same file path at the end. It would show you exactly where it pulled from. Maybe not necessarily in this PDF or printed version of it, but on the tool itself, it would let you.
Are you able, from the actual report that gets extracted, to decipher some information about its originating location?
Yes.
What is TextNow Chat?
TextNow is a voice over IP application that allows you to send text messages and phone calls, receive phone calls, basically over the internet. So as long as you have cellular data or hooked up to Wi-Fi, you can download the application and basically request a phone number and then make phone calls and text messages using the application instead of the native phone number assigned to that phone.
Is that different from sending a text message or a call from your device?
It would still be from the device, but through an application.
So you would use the phone, but you'd be using an app.
Yes.
Now, if I called you in that app, would my phone number to you be the same as my phone number that AT&T gave me if I select a number?
It'd be whatever phone number that TextNow provided to you.
But it is not the same as an extraction, for example, from the instant messages from a device or the iMessages.
No.
was there in state 75C1 an extraction report from the Axiom for this device?
Yes.
And is this device the alicia.andrews03@yahoo.com?
This is not a device, but a
Return
iCloud
from
return.
iCloud, so
Yes.
data from them.
Yes.
And would that have been from that Alicia Andrews 03@yahoo?
Yes.
All right. Now, what is it that we're looking at?
This is just text messages or messages that the Axiom tool has pulled from that iCloud extraction.
Is it possible that this isn't the entirety of all of the messages that go back and forth?
Yes.
Are you able to select some messages by date or timestamps, anything like that?
Yeah, you can filter within the tool to only certain messages, and then sometimes only certain messages are backed up. So you don't always get the full conversation, or you can filter it down to just portions yourself.
And coming from this return from the email for Alicia Andrews 03, what does the information that's provided in these chat bubbles tell us?
It just tells me that this message was sent to someone at that date and time.
And are you able to tell me anything about where the device came from? I mean, where the information came from? Was this message sent from this device, this report, to another person?
Yes, I can't tell right now, but it looks like it might possibly be a contact that says me, or I'm not sure if that's referring to the individual device. I've never seen me on a report before, so it might be a contact saved as me, but I'm not sure.
Your Honor, may I have one moment? Yes. Mr. Deputy Martinez? Should I turn it off? Are you able to tell me about the dates that this message was sent?
Yes, it shows that it was 6/17/2024 at 11:44 and 11:47 a.m.
Now, as we move through this exhibit, all of these exhibits would have come from the data from the iCloud return that you received for the Alicia Andrews 03@yahoo account. Is that correct?
Yes.
In 75C4, is this image that's being depicted here from page 4 different in some way than you would see for a traditional image? Like if it was a photograph?
This image that we see here isn't actually an image. It's a video file, but the Axiom tool, so in my investigations, we go through hundreds, thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of videos. So instead of having to watch each individual video as you go through the tool, Axiom will display what's a preview of the video by giving you 8 frames from the video to give you a general idea what might be in that video. So you don't have to necessarily watch every single video just to find out what's in it. It'll give you a preview, which is what Axiom has done here, and then you could go watch the video itself. So in this case, we're looking at a preview that was generated by Axiom of the actual video file.
Are you able to actually see the full video or even grab some of the frames from the video when you're pulling an extraction report?
Yes,
And is that what's indicated here from that same video?
correct.
Just a screenshot, basically, if we're using layman's terms.
Yes, and I think even when you go back to the still frames where there was the 8 different frames from that video, you can see that it's very similar.
Are you able to tell me anything about the date and time that this video was preserved from the data or file path, file information here?
It just shows the last modified and then, more importantly, the exif created. And how we mentioned earlier, the exif data is more data about the file itself versus a lot of times when you see created, access, and modified, that refers to that file being in a specific place at that date and time. So if you put a folder on your computer and you make a copy of that folder and put it somewhere else on your computer, those created date and times will be different because it's whenever you copied and pasted it. But the exif is specific to when that video file itself was created. So typically, forensically, that's the one we try to focus on if it's available, and in this instance it is, which is 6/22/24 at 5:26 p.m.
And are you able to say that that is also Eastern Standard Time based on the UTC information also provided?
Yes.
Publishing 75C5 from the same iCloud return. Is this an actual either screenshot or an image on the device different from what we've just seen reflected as a video?
Yes.
Is there a time reflected in the screenshot itself?
Yes, 2:58.
And is there data associated with the screenshot itself?
Yes.
On this particular screenshot, this one has a PNG label. How is that different from what we saw before?
PNG is often associated with screenshots when it comes to Apple devices. So if you do a screenshot on an Apple device, it'll save it as a PNG versus the HEIC file.
The exif data for this one is depicted down here. Is that the same exif data for date and time that we would be looking at?
Yes.
And are you able to tell me what the exif data tells us about this particular screenshot?
It shows the original date and time to be 6/23 at 2:58 p.m. Or I'm sorry, yeah, p.m.
PM?
I'm sorry, no. So 2:58. I was looking at the top. So 2:58. There is no PM or AM associated with it.
In 75C6, are you able to see that? Record 1 of 75C6.
Yes.
All right. And do you know, or can you tell me what this is?
It's a picture, but I don't know who it is or where it came from.
Are you familiar with the photo application in an iPhone or Samsung device?
Yes.
And do you have the options, which we could see at the bottom right here, of taking a photo or selecting a photo option?
I believe that's just the selfie cam. I'm not sure if that's taking a photo or selecting a photo.
To flip the camera on
Yeah.
the photo app.
Yes.
But is this, so if I clicked on or took my phone and clicked on the little camera that's on the home screen, I can open that to access the camera?
Yes.
And is that what we're looking at here, a camera access from one of these devices, or a device of some kind?
It appears to be consistent with taking a photo with a device, but I'm not sure what application it's being used from.
While you are utilizing your phone's camera, whether it's front-facing or rear-facing, are you still able to take a screenshot?
Yes.
What information, if any, did this particular item provide to us regarding the date of the original?
The original date showing 6/23 at 4:10.
I'm sorry, was that PM or AM, or do you know?
It doesn't show an AM or PM.
Are you able to tell us about the ability to have military time or standard time? Tell us the difference between those two things.
You can select military or standard on your phone, how it's displayed. And basically that being on military time is from 0000 all the way up to 2400 or 2359. So basically there is no AM or PM with military time.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes. In 75C7, are you able to tell us anything about this return from iCloud as it relates to information from Instagram?
Just that, is this from, we're still talking about the iCloud return?
Yes, the same return from alicia.andrews03@yahoo.com.
Yeah, so again, Axiom being the tool that we used in this one, it identified different, I'm trying to think where it came from, different accounts associated with, it looks like Instagram.
Does Axiom allow for information regarding followers and following when it gives you a return from Instagram or information from Instagram?
I cannot tell if these are follows or following, but it's obviously information that's backed up to Apple.
When you make a full download as it relates to the Instagram profiles, followers or following, are you able to review the file path and the file information to assess whether there's following, followers, followed by? Those categories that Axiom gives you.
Yeah, so in this scenario, yes, you can see what Axiom has parsed out, and it shows that the account associated with that Apple account, that cloud account, there are artifacts associated with Instagram showing that that account is following that username at the top, and you can see where it says following, yes, but they're not being followed back by that same account.
So following, yes.
Yes,
The username account, Young and Ace.
yes,
Followed by, no.
correct.
There are 3 of these records. Is the difference between having record 1, record 2, and record 3, which indicate the same, each of the iCloud returns that we saw in the beginning here when we were looking at the backup evidence?
I'm
When
not
we
sure.
looked at the first page, let me go back.
I'm not sure what the differences between the 3 records are. That would be Axiom parsed it out, whether that information is in 3 different locations or it's just repeating information that's the same information in 3 different locations.
If the path matches source information from this file, the second file, and this third file from page 3 of the evidence overview, does that lead you to believe that they are, in reviewing the contents of each of these zips, representative of that following for each of the returns from each one of those files?
So it would be more from the source, and I can see that the source looks, there's a lot of numbers in there to tell you exactly the same, but it looks like the source might be a little bit different, and that's why you have 3 records.
Okay, and then when you see the evidence number or information, is that referring to the file that is provided from iCloud?
Yes. But in there are multiple different folders, and you see that where it says source here, being the original one, and then there's that number, the 1295723, and then there's folder and subfolder and subfolder. So every line that you see is another folder within that folder. So every slash mark.
In 75C8, do we have the same type of following report or information that was pulled from Axiom? Page 4 of that exhibit.
For username Julio Foolio.
Correct.
And do we still have or also have those columns regarding following and is followed by?
Yes.
As it relates to this particular account, is what was the account following?
The device account was following the Julio Foolio, but Julio Foolio's account was not following back the user's device or user's account.
Are you also able to, as we could see from the device report and the Cellbrite data, or the reports that we had, are you also able to select photographs that you can pull reports for?
Yes.
In looking at this photograph that's depicted in 75C9, was there information associated with that photo which would allow you to be able to tell when the photo was captured?
Yes.
And what information is that, and can you relay that for us?
So, again, forensically, we often focus on the exif data, which is data about the data itself, not necessarily when that photo was placed on that device or that cloud. But here you can see that when the photo was taken, it captured a lot of information, Latin long being exactly where GPS put that photograph being taken, what model phone took it, and it looks like even it tells you which camera it would have taken it with, being the dual wide camera, which is typically seen on the back of a device, versus the selfie camera or the front facing camera that would face you.
And can this data, because it's been an iCloud backup, be something that came from a different device? When we saw Cellbrite, we saw a model number and an iPhone and those types of things. Can this be a different device just stored to the cloud?
It could simply be someone sent you the picture and it's stored on your device, but it just got backed up to the cloud even though another photo or another phone took the photo.
Can it be your device having taken the photo?
If you have multiple devices with the same account, cloud account, yes, it could all be backed up. But it could also be a photo taken with someone else's phone and then you've stored it or saved it on your device and it kept all that same exif information and also got backed up because now it's on your device that is being backed up.
If I have my same iCloud account from high school up till now,
Yeah.
will every phone that I've used and backed up to that same iCloud account still be reflected? Those photos from older phones are still in my iCloud.
It's possible. That's a better question for Apple, how long that they store stuff for.
But you
Or-
can have different devices that back up to the cloud.
Yes.
Is this a larger version of that photograph that was depicted in the last exhibit?
Yes.
Same exhibit, was there an image captured April 15th of 2023?
Yes.
And is that what's depicted here?
Yes.
In 75C10, can you tell us what it is that this is representative of?
These look like text messages between two devices.
So these look different than what we looked at from Cellbrite. We don't have the convenience of the blue and the green. How do you know that the messages are going back and forth? Is there something about their placement?
Yeah, so Axiom will place them typically right and left to try to make it look more like what you would see on the device. Sometimes there's colors that make it a little bit easier to see, which I don't see here. But you can also see received at the top where those ones are being received by that cloud account information, and it says unknown direction. So probably didn't parse, or it wasn't provided in the plist files or databases that were given.
But there is a number associated with the received by,
Yes.
and then the unknown direction, can that be from this person responding back to that received by?
Well, received from, I believe, is the top number. Like that was, they received that message from that number.
Yes, so if this message, text message is received from number ending
Right.
7534, is this the owner or user responding to 7534?
Correct. Often there isn't a number associated with the received by because the owner of the phone is simply the owner. Doesn't need to store its own number.
Are you able to tell me about the date and time from which I Don't Like the Town Center was received to this iCloud?
It shows April 10th of 2023 at 8:38 p.m.
Was there a response to that message?
Yes.
What was that?
You hate everywhere with an emoji. We don't gotta sit in.
Did the number ending in 7534 send a reply to that?
Yes.
And what was that?
23 got killed in the town center. That's why I'm like out there.
We still see the phone number that's provided for the person that's sending the messages to this iCloud,
Yes.
and we see their responses on the right from the person with this device.
Yes.
Lastly, was there an image from this iCloud account preserved April 22nd of 2024?
Yes.
And were you able to see that image in an enlarged fashion from the same extraction report?
Yes.
I believe that completes this particular extraction, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. All right, members of the jury, it's 12:20, so we're going to go ahead and take our lunch recess. We will reconvene at 1:30, and we'll see you then.
All rise. Officers out there.
Very good, thank you. Detective Boris, am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, since you've not yet been cross-examined while we're on the break, you can't talk to anybody about anything related to this case, including any of the prosecution, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, just go to lunch or do whatever, and then we'll see you back here at 1:30.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Okay, so let's go ahead, what is the issue with the?
Judge, there is the defendant's interview. We had both agreed that we would stop it when she requests an attorney. I had sent previously a message about additional redactions where there is conversation from the detectives having to do with a type of sentence, a life sentence, as well as there are references to what the jury will do, including statements like, you're going to get convicted, the jury's going to convict. I mean, there are several areas that I think are inappropriate that I had sent to defense counsel, and I think that he is of the opinion it just all should come in.
And this is after she invoked her, right
It
to
is
counsel?
Before.
Okay.
So there were several references, as well as several references to the type of sentence that she's going to get. And what I think is concerning, especially references to what needs to be proven in front of a jury, what the jury's going to do.
Okay, why are those comments by law enforcement admissible?
It's admissible because the officer is the one who said it. It's during an interview. We shouldn't get to retract certain statements, redact certain statements that he made during the interview because it looks bad on him. And that's exactly what the state is asking the court to do. In the interrogation, he's threatening Alicia. He's saying these things to Alicia. He's also not just mentioning life, he's also mentioning term of years, which is 30. Regardless of what he says and what he mentions in terms of what sentences she may get, all of what he's doing during the interrogation is what prompts Alicia to give the responses that she does give during the interrogation. So if you take out the statements that he's making, you're leaving out the context of why she said and did certain things. So that context needs to remain in the statement.
So, I mean, it sounds like you're arguing some form of coercion based upon what the detective said?
I mean, it could be coercion, it could be under influence, it could be...
Well, why didn't you file a motion to suppress pretrial?
Because I'm not asking for it to get out.
Oh, okay.
I'm asking for the statements after she invoked her rights to be left out.
Okay. Well, what did she say anything inculpatory after the detective made the statements about what the potential
She does not.
sentence is?
So, I mean, my only concern again was the rule of completeness. That's why I went with the defense counsel. These are not statements where she is making incriminating statements. She is denying her involvement. So, Judge, I don't think that those, again, normally we're giving this with an instruction saying how the law enforcement officer's opinion is not evidence. I think defense would normally be asking me to take it out.
Right.
If that didn't happen in this scenario, I understand that they may have their own strategy. However, it's not appropriate, especially there are multiple references about the jury specifically with the
Okay.
detective.
Let me ask you this. So were you intending to play anything to the jury after the detective makes these comments about what the sentence is in this case, or the potential sentence is?
Judge, it is in there multiple times, so there is portions that occur after that, correct?
Okay. And so there is evidence that you would seek to admit after the detective makes that representation regarding what a potential sentence is?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, and that part you do intend to play to the jury?
Not her direct response to that, but the interview does go on, Judge. But I thought a lot of it is what the defense wanted to remain within the conversation, if that makes sense.
No. I mean, I'm having a hard time because I don't know what the interview, I don't know what it is. So I'm gonna have to look at it. And I really wish someone filed a motion before trial, and we weren't doing this in the middle of trial. Okay, so be back here at, I think I told the jury 1:30, be back here at 1:15 so I can look at the video. Okay, thanks.
Where's the recess?
Was it like the photos?
We just failed to announce,
Yeah,
because
it was
I
just-
said 75, we already had 75 2 in, so
Right.
it is,
It was 12 through 16 was here, but then all of them weren't.
I created a new card for all of them, we just have to ensure that the record is cleared. 75C, do you want to put that on the bill? Well, let's make sure we're on the same page for that.
Yeah, so 75C2 was admitted previously,
Yes, Your Honor.
okay? And then we're getting ready to move on to 75, correct? Or is
We
it?
are on 75.
Oh,
Going
okay.
through 75, but I only said 75 when we admitted it, and there are subcategories, so the clerk needs us to pronounce the 1 through 13 with the exception of 2, which is already in.
Okay.
And so A and B as well, 75A, 75B?
Did A and B get admitted?
Yes, Your Honor, with the entirety of the exhibits, the business record certification and the device info.
Okay.
So A, B, and then C, 1, 3 through 13. Because 2 was previously admitted.
Right. Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Same thing.
All right.
That was
Trash.
trash.
Yes.
That's one of the items.
No, that is trash, thank you.
Okay, so we're running out of time to talk about the defendant's Miranda interview, so jury's back here at 2 minutes. Okay. How long is the interview?
Judge, it is approximately, put it in, here's an hour, 122. 122.
An hour and 22?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna be able to watch that right now. So. All right, how much longer do you anticipate with your current witness, Detective Boris?
15 minutes.
And is Detective Ramos the next one?
He is, Judge. But we can certainly get started with, he's going to be lengthy, so.
Okay. 3.
For Robert Howard, when he was brought over, I guess then
Yeah,
can
you'll
go back.
probably send it back.
I'll
Yep.
send it back.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Pardon me?
You want to take it, put you back on the bench?
Sure.
No, don't worry, it's a creation. Yes.
Still missing one jury, Judge.
Oh, okay. Do we need to wait for, is Mr. Harmon here? We need to wait, or we can get going?
Judge, I think we can get going.
Okay, very good. Let's go and bring him in. Okay. Sorry. very good. Everyone have a seat. Welcome back, and we'll continue on with the detective. You may proceed.
Your Honor. Detective Boris, I believe when we left off, we were on the extraction for Alicia Andrews, 03 at Yahoo. We're still familiar with that extraction report. In looking at State's Exhibit 75C12, are you able to tell me the difference between the two dates that we see as it relates to the first date stamp on the page versus the second?
It shows October 15th of 2023 at 11:02 p.m. and the last modified time being 5/15/2024 at 9:34 a.m.
And modified, as you've already described for us, can that mean copied, saved, updated?
It could just be a change to the picture. I'm not sure what the changes are. Viewing the thumbnails, it looks like it might just simply have been cropped, but I can't tell you for sure what the change was.
And the same as when we discussed the other thumbnail images, you would be able to access or enlarge the image from that date.
Yes.
Lastly, 75C15 from the same